welcome once again to the video. In this one I shall just be writing down, as I have been doing of late, a list of all the Grand Prix winners from Formula One Grand Prix winners from the upcoming circuit, the upcoming Grand Prix. The upcoming Grand Prix within the next week will be, I think it's next week will be the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring, which used to be called the Osterreichring, until it was bought by Dietrich Mateschitz in 2004. Now, I won't be writing down the winners of the Austrian Grand Prix. I should be writing down the winners of the Grand Prix at that circuit. So it's just 1970 onwards, and it'll also include the two Styrian Grand Prix because they were at the Red Bull Ring. Okay, so let's dive in, shall we? So the very first one was 1970. Now I have to make sure this is definitely in focus. Jackie X, let me just get this in focus. It's always a little bit tricky. Jackie X 71. There are 38 in total. I calculate 38 Grand Prix, Formula One Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring stroke Osterreichring. Okay, Joe Siffert, a Swiss driver. Jackie X, a Belgian driver. That was in a Ferrari. Ferrari would not win another race at this circuit until 1999 with Eddie Irvine. Joe Siffert was in a BRM. 72. You're looking at Fittipaldi in one of his championship winning years. He was in the Lotus that year. Oh dear. Emerson Fittipaldi. 1973. Ronnie Peterson, also in a Lotus. He would go on to die in 1978, wouldn't he? What Grand Prix was that in 1978? Was it the Italian Grand Prix? I forget. 74. Winner was Reutemann. Carlos Reutemann, Argentinian driver. He's now a politician. Not quite the president of Argentina, but he might be on his way there, unless he's retired from politics now, but he was in politics. He nearly won the 1981 championship. He went into the final round ahead of Nelson Piquet in his Brabham. Reutemann was in a Williams, and didn't win it, basically. I remember him being a little bit irritated. Well, actually, I don't remember at the time, but since then he's had a few issues with a few things that happened in that year. 1975, Brambilla. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I've been saying it that way for decades. He only ever won one race, and it was this race, and that was in a Brabham, by the way, the Reutemann. This year it was in a Williams in 1981 when he nearly won the championship. This was a Brabham. But Brambilla was in a March, basically. Okay, so now, shall I jump across? Yeah, let's go up here. Shoot, let's just go up here and maybe put in a big tree in our world. Or maybe instead of a big tree in our world, I'll just put 1976 winner, John Watson. That Brambilla, 1975, that, I didn't know this, but I looked up this fact just now. Brambilla crashed after crossing the line. He skidded off because it was a wet track and destroyed his car after crossing the line in first place, first ever win, and only win. And also Mark Donohue, the American driver, was killed in that race. 1976, John Watson's first ever victory and Penske's first and last victory. Team Penske, yes, from IndyCar fame. I remember I've always known that Penske won one race. I just didn't know what race it was until I was looking up these results. But yes, it was in 1976. Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, the big IndyCar team, Penske, still are as well. 77. Alan Jones in his shadow. Now, when I was a kid, in about sort of the early 80s, I had a deck of top trumps. And I remember in that top trumps, there was the shadow team. So it was an old top trumps pack, but, you know, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, I guess, 4 or 5 years old. And it was going back to this time, basically. The shadow team. That's what Jones won that race in 1978. The year that Ronnie Peterson died, he won the Austrian Grand Prix, again in his Lotus, 1979. I did put all of this in focus, didn't I? So let me just try that again. I should all be in focus. 79 was Jones again, this time in his Williams. 1980. Jabouille. I toyed with the idea of doing a circuit video for this one, but I just don't have always have the time to do it, basically. So I've got that might have to wait till next year, a circuit video. Unless I do one when there isn't a Grand Prix coming up. Of course, it doesn't have to be when the Grand Prix is coming up. Jabouille, Frenchman, in his Renault. Next was Jacques Lafitte in his Ligier, another Frenchman. So you move into the 80s and suddenly you get lots of French winners all of a sudden. Jabouille, Lafitte, Prost, Arnoux, Tombay, they're all over the place. Okay, so let me wipe that out. So the last one was Jacques Lafitte. This probably wipes out my focus as well. So I have to make sure I do that again. 82. Now this was an exciting race. Don't worry, I will put it in focus. I'm just going to write it out first. Elio De Angelis. Anyone? Oh, okay. There's a bit of wibble wobble there, but it's okay. Elio De Angelis. He didn't win many races. He died in 1986 in a practice at Paul Ricard. Testing, I think it was. Mid-season testing, I think, in 86. Or was it pre-season testing? I don't know, I can't remember now, but it was 86. But anyway, he won this race by 0.05 of a second, half a car's length, over Keke Rosberg's Williams. Very exciting finish. It is, to this date, the fourth closest finish of all time. And in fact, this circuit has 2 of the top 4 closest finishes of all time. The other one, though, is a bit more of an annoying one, which we'll come to later. But this one, 0.05 of a second, the 4th closest finish in history. The closest one is 1971 Italian Grand Prix, won by Peter Gethin. That was 0.01 of a second. The second closest is another Austrian Grand Prix, 2002, 0.011 of a second. We'll get to that later. Third was 1986 Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez, 0.014 of a second between Senna and Mansell. Oh, that's exciting. I remember watching that live. And the 4th one is this one. And the 5th one was the 1969 Italian Grand Prix. Okay, so let's go 83. And we've got Alain Prost. De Angelis was in the Lotus, by the way. Prost was in a Renault. Should probably have won the championship in 83. Mind you, that tends to belittle Nelson Piquet. Piquet deserved to win it as well, and did. 1984, Lauda, also in a McLaren, Prost teammate. Now, that's the one and only time that an Austrian has won the Austrian Grand Prix. 85, Prost again. In a McLaren. Yeah, sorry, so that was a Renault. McLaren. 86, Prost again. In a McLaren. Prost, one of only 2 drivers to have won 3 or more Grand Prix at this circuit. Joe Siffert won 3 Austrian Grand Prix, but only one of them was at this circuit. 87, oh, this was the big smash and grab race, won by Nigel Mansell eventually, but they had 3 starts in his Williams, 2 restarts basically, due to accidents at the start. That uphill climb to the first corner, I think it was a bit sharper back then, and there were 2 accidents at the start, 2 big accidents involving multiple cars. I seem to remember Martin Brundle was involved in one of them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was. But there's lots. It was carnage. Each start took out 5 to 10 cars, I think, and then they had to get sort of like, not permanently. So most of them were put back into the race again, but. That was chaotic, that was. 87 Grand Prix. Right, then there wasn't an Austrian Grand Prix for 10 years. Due to the usual things, safety concerns, arguing over who owns the circuit, sponsorship, all that sort of stuff, 1997, we had Jacques Villeneuve in his Williams. 98, we had Mika Hakkinen in his McLaren, dominant McLaren that year. 99, at long last, we get another Ferrari win, Eddie Irvine. I think this was after Schumacher's big accident at Silverstone, which I witnessed because I was there at Silverstone when it happened. I think this was after that, when he was trying to win the championship as Schumacher had been taken out of action pretty much. He didn't, though. Hakkinen still successfully defended his title. It shouldn't do, but it always irritates me when people say someone defended their title, as in they won the title again. In any sport, it annoys me because simply by taking part, you are defending your title. What you are trying to do is successfully defend your title. Okay? So in 1999, Hakkinen was, like in 98, Villeneuve was defending his title. He defended his title in 1998. What Villeneuve didn't do is successfully defend his title in 1998. It's always annoyed me when people don't put in the word successfully. Okay, so in 2000 we have another win by Hakkinen. But that was the year Schumacher started winning. 2001 was Coulthard in his McLaren. 2002, Schumacher. Now this was the one I told you about, the second closest finish of any Grand Prix in history. So that one there is the 4th closest, and that's the 2nd closest. Not just Austrian Grand Prix, but all Grand Prix in history. But this one was contrived. Barrichello was leading from pole position all the way through, but was given team orders to let Schumacher through because Schumacher was the one ahead in the championship by some distance. Schumacher seemed to not want to overtake Barrichello. Literally on the last corner, Barrichello slowed to let Schumacher pass. Schumacher then slowed as well because he didn't want, as what he said, and it seems to be true, he didn't want to overtake Barrichello just before the line, just to get the extra points. So both Barrichello and Schumacher were desperately trying to slow up, slam the brakes on, to avoid winning. But in the end, Schumacher still crossed the line just. So yes, 0.011, very close to being the quickest finish, or the closest finished ever. I'm so glad it didn't happen. It's the 2nd closest finish ever. I'm so glad it wasn't the quickest. I keep saying that. I'm so glad it wasn't the closest. Because it was a fake close finish, basically. Okay. So next up, we have 2003. Schumacher. Now normally you get lots and lots of Schumachers, but there's only 2 on this list because there were no Austrian Grand Prix after 2004 for a while. Need to get that in focus. 2004. Yeah, sorry, there wasn't any race in 2004, was there? What am I? Oh, I just said that, didn't I? I said after 2004, I meant including 2004. So there was then nothing, all down to the usual routines again, the usual reasons why, until, and the Red Bull, it was bought by Dietrich Mateschitz in 2004, and he completely renovated the circuit. And so it didn't come back on the calendar again until 2014, when Nico Rosberg won in his Mercedes. I can't remember much about that race. 2016 was the exciting one between Rosberg and Hamilton. 2015 was also Rosberg in his Mercedes. Then 2016 was the exciting one, won by Hamilton. Yeah, very exciting race. Hamilton got past Rosberg on the last lap. Bish bash bosh. Hamilton went on to win. Rosberg, I think, came 3rd, did he? They both had damaged cars. 2017, Bottas. Well done, Bottas. And 2018, Verstappen. Is it still in focus? Yeah, I think so. I think it's a bit wobbly. Okay, so 2019. 2019. My voice. What's going on with my voice? Max Verstappen again. 2020. Now, 2020 was won by Bottas when it was the Austrian Grand Prix in his Mercedes, but the 2020 Styrian Grand Prix was won by Hamilton in his Mercedes. Yeah. Okay, and 2021 Austrian Grand Prix was won by Verstappen. 2021 Styrian Grand Prix was won by Verstappen. 2022 Austrian Grand Prix, Leclerc in his Ferrari. And I remember Leclerc had a barnstorming start to the season, hadn't he? He'd been first, second, first in the first 3 races, helped by Verstappen having 2 retirements amongst those opening 3 races. But he had a massive lead over Verstappen, 50 points or something after 3 races. But then Verstappen took off, and Leclerc didn't win another race until about round 12 or something, the Austrian Grand Prix. And that was his only other win that year. He just had 3 wins. Bahrain, I think, and Australia. I think they were the 2 in the first 3 races, and then the Austrian Grand Prix. So we haven't got much left here now. So we've just got 2023. Verstappen again. Is it in focus? I think so. 2024, George Russell. After the coming together between Verstappen and Norris, Russell came through from 3rd place to win the race in his Mercedes. 2025, question mark. Now, who's won what? Verstappen is top scorer, with 5. That's 4 Austrian Grand Prix and 1 Styrian Grand Prix. And then Prost is the only other driver to have won 3 or more, which he did in the space of 3 years, and 4 years, 83, 85 and 86. As regards teams, you've got Mercedes with 7. That does include 1 Styrian Grand Prix. And you've got Ferrari with 6. McLaren with 6. There you go. All very interesting. So, we look forward to the upcoming Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring, Osterreichring. Osterreichring simply means Austrian circuit, I think, doesn't it? Austrian track, Austrian circuit, something like that. Anyway, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or like the video, or comment on the video, or even leave a tip below the video in the thanks button. But thank you basically for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.